never delayed the Republican National Convention. You think about the RNC in our rearview mirror, and it seems like weeks ago because the news cycle just churns on hour by hour, minute by minute. We'll bring you all the breaking news. Hey, Dawn Stensland here at Dawn Stensland on X, Dawn Stensland Mentee. Kamala Harris, let's talk about her and let's get your take. So I think of the whirlwind we've been through, the RNC, and just as, I think of my dear friend Rich Cioli as he catches his breath, right, after the whirlwind RNC. They called it historic, record. It was incredible, great fundraising, great momentum. And then suddenly we hear that President Joe Biden was in Vegas, then rushed out of Vegas, cancels some 9 events, and heads back to Delaware. Then we hear he has COVID, but he's recovering well. Then it's delayed. Is he going to drop out? Man, it happened fast. And all of a sudden, Sunday afternoon, after the Sunday shows, we hear that, yes, Joe Biden is dropping out, quitting his campaign, but not quitting the presidency, and a lot of different conflicting reports. Have we seen Joe? Okay, it's now 10:03. You remember these old slogans. Do you know where your children are? Do you know where your president is? We know where he is. He's local. He's in Delaware and reportedly heading back to the White House, but avoiding the media as far as seeing him visually. So we'll get through it all. But Kamala Harris, and we carried some of this live for you when she was greeted by a cheering crowd during her first rally yesterday, right? And that was the NCAA. Then she spoke last night from the campaign headquarters as Kamala rhymes with Mamala, and that's what the media is going with. They're saying her name incorrectly because it's racist. I don't know who they're talking about. I've said Kamala rhymes with Mamala. That's what her stepkids have called her. She was married fairly recently to her husband, Doug Emhoff, who was wealthier. We'll get into her wealth. We'll talk about all of it in her past and get through it. But she is now the candidate. She is running for the top office in the nation as president of the United States of America. She wants the job. She's going to pick her Veep. And if you think that the old talking points apply, it's not true. And so Republicans, and I can tell you locally, because I'm speaking at an event this week, which I'll moving forward tell you about. But Republicans are not taking this for granted. They're not. But none of us can take anything for granted because she came out as somebody who was polished. I know you may not like her, but she came out speaking in a way that was strong, that was polished. So let's listen in. And this is the last evening, right? This is in the late 5 p.m. hour when Kamala Harris spoke out. She has now I'm seeing confirmation of 100 million. Greg Stocker says there's another report that it's double that. But clearly, the Democrats are doing what they do. Once they made this decision, and I will submit to you that I think this was all part of a plan. And so now they can go, oh, look at Kamala. She pulled this together. She made more than 100 phone calls. They've been calling. They've been figuring this out. They've been lining up. And I'll talk about Obama because everybody's saying, where's Obama? Why isn't he? I'll get into all of it. But this, they're saying, is an historic campaign. She has now, just understand, she has nailed all the delegates. Okay? She has the delegates that she needs. And the question now, this morning, and we thought last night it would be, she still needs to nail down all the delegates. Let's go through Kamala's checklist. And no, she has the delegates she needs. That's the report this morning. That's the news. We saw Trump and J.D. Vance, and we'll get into all of that as J.D. Vance holding his first rally solo yesterday. But I will get through all of this, I promise you. But it's important to think about this. The Kamala Harris looked very different. She sounded very different because she is now going for the main job, and she is laser focused, but not just Vice President Harris, the entire team, all the Democrats, they're lining up. They all have their talking points, and the media as well. And so that's what you're going to see, a united front with the so-called mainstream media. The majority of media entities, and you know this, they lean liberal and they are pro Kamala and they want her to win. And so that's a force that must be reckoned with, right? And so we'll talk about Josh Shapiro, his odds. We'll talk about everything here, I promise you. But let's listen in as Kamala Harris spoke out, campaign headquarters, and Kamala, she is Harris at the helm.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
That was Biden.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you.
So she must have, I was trying to count all the times she said, I love you, Joe, throughout the day. And, I couldn't help but think, thou dost protest. You know how when somebody says something like that publicly over and over to the point that you think, boy, you're saying I love you so many times. I don't know if you really, is that disingenuous? Did you stab this guy in the back? But she came off as warm. This is many people perceiving this who want to support her, warm and loving, and talking about the fact that she was a prosecutor in California at a high level, and that she is tough on criminals and tough on crime, and she goes through that. So I want to get your take, and I want you to look at her through a different lens. And so maybe this is difficult because I know it would be low-hanging fruit. I could air all the funny little clips where she talks about the coconut tree and all the little cackling things. But this is a new day, and this is a new Kamala Harris, and it's important to face this head on. Can we hear more from Kamala as she talks about, we have the bite that I know we aired earlier this morning, where she talks about the fact that she is very familiar with criminals, with predators. As a prosecutor, she prosecuted these individuals. And so she's very familiar with, the Donald J. Trump type. So she doesn't come right out and say, oh, he's a convicted criminal, he's a felon, he's a predator. But basically that's what she was saying. And so you can see her talking points moving forward. You can see that in a debate, which there is a debate upcoming in September, she will say these things to Trump, and she will definitely attempt to trigger him. And I'm glad she's showing her hand so that he can prepare for this, so that he can be presidential, and so that he can be the one who's bigger in the moment. And even I hope to God that in a debate, when she says these things that are low-hanging fruit, where she thinks she's going to trigger him, that he says, after the attempt on my life in Pennsylvania, after an assassin's bullet missed taking my life by just a fourth of an inch, according to the experts, this changed me as a human being, and I'm grateful that by the grace of God, out of everybody there, my life was spared somehow, and it changed me as a man. And so I know that maybe people say these things to try to trigger me or change my focus, but my focus truly is to humbly serve this country and to change the policies in our nation, the policies that are hurting American people. Hurting people from getting the dream job they want, hurting Americans from getting the dream home they want, hurting Americans like many of those whose parents who are now grieving I met with, like Laken Riley, like a little girl named Jocelyn, 12 years young in Texas, who was brutally ravaged, raped, murdered, and dumped in a shallow body of water. And all of these individuals have one thing in common. They were across the country, a beautiful young mother of 5 in Maryland, murdered, grabbed as she was trying to keep in shape on a beautiful day. All of these victims, they have one thing in common. Their lives were taken away from them. They were tortured, beaten, and ravaged by people who came into this country because of your administration, Ms. Harris. Your administration let them in, and even when law enforcement captured them, your administration ensured that they were given an ankle bracelet, which was too easy to take off. And then they went on to commit murder and rape and wreak havoc and fear in our nation. That's the kind of pivot that we need from former President Donald J. Trump. That's the kind of pivot we need to make sure that we remind everybody that who is the law and order president and the law and order presidential candidate and who is not. And to also remind America as to which president quit the American people. He quit because his party decided that in the polls he just can't win, that it's all about career politicians. And that's important to remind everybody of too. But make no mistake, she will come off as an impressive, accomplished woman. And so anybody who makes fun of her as this cackling hyena idiot is an idiot. Let me just say that again. Anybody, including on this station, who makes fun of her as a cackling, howling, low IQ idiot who's going to be easy to beat is an idiot. Don't do it. Don't go there, because that's not how she's about to be portrayed. Watch it as it happens in real time. They are lining up. They are raising money. This is what Democrats do best. So do we have that soundbite with her? Let's listen as this audio clip as she talks about, this is really important.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
See, they know where she's going already.
Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
So this is where she's going. She worked for the DA's office in San Francisco from 2004 until, she basically left office it was January 3rd, 2011. But so for 6 years, essentially, she was, it was a 6-year period because she left January 3rd, 2011. But it was a 6-year period where she was DA in San Francisco and then moved on. And I know that many will talk about her longtime alleged affair as a woman in her 20s with a married man in his, I believe, 60s. And I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud. There are people who are going to say, look, she played the game. She prostituted herself. She slept with a married, powerful man in California who helped her immensely, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to say this. People can say whatever they want about how she climbed the ladder, whatever, but Trump is not the one to say it, right? Trump or Vance, they should absolutely steer clear of that. They cannot say that. They should just talk about policy. And so I did see on True Social, Trump initially said some things about her, which were about, her intelligence or that sort of her capabilities, that sort of thing. It was a broader kind of reaction, but I was thankful, and we will play this moving forward. I was thankful that he stuck to a very professional, policy issue-oriented argument when he was interviewed. And so that's important. That's really critical moving forward, that he sticks to this and does not get baited into saying things that, of course, they're going to play over and over in commercials, because that's what they're going to try to do. Mark my words. And so I just want to give you a little media take. And the other thing, really, really quick, I have to break, because we have some great guests coming up. The other thing I'm going to say, just notice for me, just watch this, how good Kamala Harris looks. Amazing. She looks better than she's looked in years. And in part, this is the media making sure that she is lit beautifully, that she is photographed beautifully, that she is published, if you will, and that she is presented in the very best light. You see, that's happening. At the same point, Trump, watch that he will never have looked older. They're going with the age issue. They're not only going with the age talking point that, oh, he's the old guy, but just watch for the way he's photographed, the way that he is presented, the way he is lit, because lighting is everything. Trust me, from a background of mostly television news. This is how it will be portrayed, and that's part of the media bias that I talk about all the time. So I just say to you, don't take my word for it. Just please notice, whether it's a published report, whether it's in the local newspaper, magazine, video, online, just watch for it. And then if I'm wrong, okay, give me the evidence. But I'm telling you, I'm right on this. 855-839-1210. I must take a quick break. I'm going to be right back.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out, because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale and Company. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But the playoffs just ended. The Boston Celtics won, and now we get fewer games. But it's okay. Have no fear, because with FanDuel Sportsbook in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, it keeps the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. During the summer, FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg, and make the most out of your summer. You still have baseball. The Phillies are playing well. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Don't forget FanDuel.com/Greg. 21 and over, present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Did you know you can stream Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app? Just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio to hear the voices you trust. Brian Kilmeade.
Why are we so scared of Iran thinking that we're at war with them?
Guy Benson.
Get the bleep out of here. It's disgusting.
Jimmy Fallon.
Then this administration rolled into town with a checkbook.
Are all on the free Odyssey app. From the news and talk to keep you informed and up to date during election season. Listen to Fox News Radio on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Slim down this summer with NJ Diet. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. That's faster and safer than weight loss injections. Lose those extra pounds the safe and natural way without any shots. Get started at njdiet.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, Mount Laurel. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
Yeah, so I'll talk about her wealth, Kamala Harris, her wealth, how she got wealthy, and her tax, information, that sort of thing. We'll talk about, get your take on Kamala Harris as well. Charlemagne the God, who's on a different radio station, New York City, but he's everywhere nationally. Remember, he was the one, and thank you to Tony Bruno, who, this is where I saw it initially, that Tony Bruno had put this out there last night, I believe, and said, hey, remember when this guy he said he'd vote for Biden. He's a Democrat, and he's a huge influencer, but he has a huge following on social media and his broadcasting entities. But he's somebody who said that he would not endorse Joe Biden. Well, now he's coming out and he's fighting. He's actually campaigning for Kamala Harris. So I want you to listen to this, and then I want to give you my take on what I stated.
Man, I think a good example of that is, what happened, last week. Sadly, there was an assassination attempt, on a former president. And, I absolutely condemn political violence, regardless of how I feel about Trump's politics. Good. I don't agree with people trying to assassinate elected officials or candidates. If that was someone I was supporting politically, I damn sure wouldn't be happy about it. But I think the media lied to themselves for a week. I think CNN lied to themselves for a week. I think MSNBC lied to themselves for a week. And, and I want folks, especially the media, to understand you don't have to willfully surrender to fascism. When I see people saying, we have to tone down the rhetoric around Donald Trump. What does that mean exactly? Because you can't talk about Trump without telling the truth. He absolutely led an attempted coup in this country. His followers were chanting to hang Mike Pence. He did say the governor of Montana was my type of guy. After he was a congressman, then he body slammed a reporter. He did suggest that Second Amendment supporters do something about Hillary Clinton. You can't even begin to have conversations about dangerous rhetoric that lead to political violence without talking about Trump. So when the House Speaker Mike Johnson comes out there and, says everyone needs to tone down the rhetoric, no, it's really one person.
It is one person.
Now running mate J.D. Vance, says it was the dangerous rhetoric from Democrats that led to this. No. It was, the rhetoric that he created, and he's created an environment that's not safe for any politician, including him. And I think media is lying to themselves, and they lied to themselves all last
So you
week.
get the gist of it. So this in particular he was being interviewed on CNN when he made those statements, which he's making some false statements. And I can play the audio once again for you, where Trump said, even though this was taken off social media for a while, but where Trump stated at the rally, go peacefully. Remember this? And so we're going to have to isolate that just so we can keep playing it so that we can remind everybody that he did not incite any crowd, by the way. But I had responded to this by saying blaming blaming Trump for an assassination attempt, I said, is like blaming a rape survivor that her skirt was too short. And I wrote shame, like, Game of Thrones shame. So thanks for retweeting it. It got a lot of response, obviously. But this is where we're going with this, where they're going to say, oh, no. Donald Trump is, and you heard it in that Biden phone call. I know we played all of this morning, so I don't want to overlap. But you heard in that phone call that Joe Biden called into the headquarters with Kamala Harris there, and she was like, Joe's on the line, and I know Joe. I love you, Joe, over and over. But you heard Joe Biden, he actually used the words again, talking about Trump is dangerous. And I couldn't believe that they're still going with that. This as a man, he just survived an assassination attempt, but here we are Tuesday, and they're going with it. They're saying Trump is the danger to democracy. Trump is the one that created this climate, and as I've told you for years, Trump did not create this. Now, was he born of all of this? Was he born as a result of the biased media? Absolutely. But he did not create the situation. And for anybody to say that Trump somehow created it when Biden stood in Philadelphia, and we need to play that over and over. Biden stood in Philadelphia with those Marines as props behind him with that weird red lighting. You know what I'm about to say. And he talked about not just Trump being a danger and putting him in the target, but as well, the MAGA. The MAGA. See, you are evil. I'm evil. We as Make America Great Again, Republican conservative voters and supporters, we need to be canceled, silenced, right? That's what we are, the danger. We are the problem. That's what's going on here. And so that to me is a moment to step back and say, wow, that's just not okay. That's not okay. It's one thing to say what Trump, and do we have him talking about the policies with Jesse Waters? Do we have that audio? So do we have Trump with the audio to Jesse Waters talking about the policy? So this is where Trump is great. So he's on Fox, he's being interviewed by Jesse Waters, and this goes viral. And he talks about the policy of Kamala Harris. You see, he talks about the economy, he pivots. That to me is where you want to go and continue to go there. And these reporters are going to be yelling questions. She says she's a crime fighter and you're the criminal. Watch for it. Wait for it. Then Trump is going to hear this 24/7. Put earplugs in your ears, Mr. President. Don't take the bait, because that's what they want you to do. Listen in. Do we have it?
The Secret Service has handled this. Watch. You spoke to Cheadle. How'd that go?
She came to see me, actually.
Well, that's Cheadle. That's Cheadle. He's talking about her. Go ahead, because right now we have the House Speaker just called for her.
The Secret Service. Be fired. Cheadle. How'd that go?
She came to see me, actually, and
she.
it went very nicely. She was very nice, I thought, but. Somebody should have made sure there was nobody on that roof. That roof was a dead aim right onto the stage.
Okay,
and they said they didn't have the manpower for it, which is crazy. 130 yards is like sinking a 1-foot putt. Yeah. It's scary, but he's very gracious with this and has not ripped into the Secret Service. Remember, he gets briefings, and so he knows much more than he's saying, and that's all of them. So I'll say that, number one. Number two, Cheadle should resign. She should take responsibility. We've talked about that ad nauseum. I think that's pretty much everybody agrees on that point. And for Trump, part of this is, and for all of us, part of this is that nobody's talking about this enough, that the blood is on the Biden administration's hands, her hands, for mismanagement, for not making sure that everybody was where they needed to be. But I'll go back to Corey Comparator. I'll go back to the two other men who still recover in the hospital.
all of those tens of thousands of people, Americans who were there, who were at risk. And so for all of those reasons and many more, Cheadle needs to resign, apologize to the American people. Does the buck stop with her? No, it stops with the Biden administration. And of course, they'll continue to investigate. And of course, they have to get to the bottom of it. I told you earlier this morning and yesterday, there were House members investigating. They were here in Pennsylvania. They were on that roof. It was viral. So we talked a lot about that. So moving forward, we'll talk about all of it. Well, you want to hear what Elon Musk says. If you heard it already, and this is heart-wrenching. I want you to hear what Elon Musk says. I want to get your reaction to it. And we'll talk about all of it right around the corner, right here on The Dawn Show, 855-839-1210. Your number to call. So much developing around the corner and a great guest coming up as well. Hey, if you take one look at a beautiful thing on the roadways, it's undeniable. I'm talking about the new 2024 Tonale. Tonale. I want to sing it. Tonale. This is a beautiful vehicle from Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike. It is built with the iconic grille and 5-hole wheels. When you see it, you notice it, and then you can't take your eyes off it. For your convenience, you're going to find a hands-free power lift gate, a 10-inch huge screen, touch screen. It's 10 inches. Touch screen that you've never seen anything like it. Keyless entry. There's more. Wireless charging pad, brilliant LED adaptive lights, and a power moonroof. So you sit inside this vehicle and you just say, luxury, Tonale, take me away. For a limited time, you lease a Tonale TI all-wheel drive for only $299 a month for 24 months. Visit Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike in Chadds Ford. Let me tell you something. I've never seen a deal like this. I told Larry Bear, you didn't really get me anything good for my birthday. I'm already lobbying that I've never seen a deal like this. $299 a month for 24 months. Wow. Alfa Romeo of Wilmington Pike in Chadds Ford. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here. Isn't it time to invest in yourself? Well, how about this? Start a PI Dental Center with decades of experience in complex dental treatment, and I've been a patient in PI Dental for 20 years. Dr. Glenn Wolfinger and Dr. Robert Slough, they're board-certified prosthodontists. They specialize in the restoration and replacement of teeth, and PI Dental Center are the originators of the teeth in a day. It's a revolutionary treatment that delivers fixed teeth and implants placed for a dramatic transformation in a mere one day. So visit PIDentalCenter.com. That's PIDentalCenter.com to request your new patient evaluation.
According to a study conducted by Atticus Law Firm, 40% of retirees were forced back into the workforce because they received a deceptive sales pitch from their broker. But there is one way to ensure that you don't become part of that statistic.
Tony Gambone and Denise Gambone, Royersford, Pennsylvania.
I know people that had to go back to work because they got bad investment advice from brokers. By recording our sessions, Crash Proof Retirement proves they're willing to put their money where their mouth is.
The recordings used by Crash Proof Retirement, it's just a natural extension of how Crash Proof is legally bound to do right for the consumer.
Guarantee legally binding transparency for your retirement future. Schedule an appointment to begin your crash-proof retirement education. Call us at 1-800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Joel Embiid is excited. The process marches on.
Oh, George, welcome to Philadelphia.
Maury, hallelujah.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at Archbishop Wood High School in Warminster, PA, Saturday, September 28th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com.
The Sixers will prevail.
Oh, baby! joeconklin.com.
If you're looking to furnish your home or replace your old furniture, your journey begins and ends at Bucks County Estate Traders. One piece of advice, make sure you have time when you come here. The 58,000 square foot showroom is a furniture wonderland. Quality high-end pieces with inventory changing daily. It's all here. Mid-century modern, traditional, vintage, antique, and name brands. They'll ship anywhere, or you can pick up in-store. Bucks County Estate Traders in Hatfield or at buckscountyestatetraders.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland weekdays 10 till noon. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle has just resigned following widespread outrage over how her agency failed to prevent that attempted assassination of former President Donald J. Trump. Trump did not call for her resignation, to my knowledge, and we played that clip where you hear him. She was very nice. He accepted, what she was saying. Obviously, U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, this is the breaking news just moments ago, resigning. And that was a day after, talk about a tough day on the job. She was blasted and this was bipartisan. We've been playing the clips all morning. I think Nancy Mace, although I don't know that I could ever picture myself, during a congressional hearing cursing, potty mouth Nancy Mace. But Congresswoman Mace was good in that, as she just called BS on her. But Cheadle's resignation obviously follows a day where she was blasted by members of that House committee we've talked a lot about, adhering on the Secret Service's actions or lack of action leading up to Trump's July 13th rally here in Pennsylvania in Butler Township. So this is announced. She is officially resigning. And she really refused to resign yesterday, saying that she was indeed the best qualified person to head the Secret Service, which, of course, is an elite law enforcement unit, really recognized worldwide for protecting the president, the vice president, their family members, leading presidential candidates, etc. And so that's the breaking news story of the moment, with Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle resigning over the attempted assassination and the tragedy that then unfolded with the tragic death of a 50-year-old man, retired fire chief, engineer, hardworking father, husband, Corey Comparator, here in Pennsylvania, as well as 2 other men who continue, thank God, to recover, and many other thousands of rally goers who were put in harm's way because the lack of planning reminds me of that movie line that's so famous, "What we have here is a failure to communicate." Well, that was part of the problem, but it was really a failure of leadership. And that's what we see as a common theme over and over. So we've got that going on. I want to pivot really quick, if I may, to Elon Musk. I saw this last night, and it was stunning to me because I've talked a lot about the issue of right now, the mental health issue with regard to young people, and especially during the pandemic, post-pandemic. You know that it was really a point of contention when Children's Hospital, here in Philadelphia, when the doctors came out during the pandemic, during all the shutdowns, among the toughest, most strict shutdowns in the nation, schools, children here were banned from schools. And even when they were allowed to finally start coming back, masks, the spacing, I mean, it was crazy. And then the kids didn't have the Wi-Fi, they didn't have the tablets. The whole thing was a disaster. And Children's Hospital defied the teachers union, which was angry, and said, our hospital and locally our hospitals are full, not of children with COVID at all, but with children who are suffering with emotional issues, some of them very serious. And so they said, they called for reopening the schools and getting kids back to a routine. And remember, the teachers union was having a hissy fit and was protesting for many, many days on end. So just fast forward what has happened and how it was supersized as far as the issue of, and it seems to be this promotion, if you will, of becoming transgender. And I say this in a gentle way because you know me. I'm a sensitive person. And if somebody tells me as an adult that they are fill in the blank, whatever that may be, I always say, you be you. This is a free country. And I believe in your pursuit of happiness and your liberty and justice for all. I believe in that. But we're talking about children. And we're talking about an indoctrination that we've seen, and particularly in certain areas, and then it was supersized during the pandemic. Okay? And so I just want you to think about that backdrop of the so-called, this boom of the population of children, and some of them young children, announcing that they are transgender and that their pronouns and the whole shebang, and then parents going to a doctor and saying, hey, my kid is depressed, or they're saying this, that, the other, and then the doctor says, well, let me give you a referral, and here's where you need to go so that your child can be treated. And a lot of people didn't know anything about this during the pandemic. Maybe we all should have, but a lot of people didn't. So this is one of the wealthiest people and one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, Elon Musk, and we've talked about many children by 3 mothers. And so he's being interviewed, and I just want you to think about what is happening to him. If you haven't heard, listen carefully, because it's shocking. This is Elon Musk speaking during an interview.
If we allow children to take permanent actions when they're 10, 12, 14 years old, they will do things that they subsequently greatly regret.
Yes, I've interviewed a couple of people who've done exactly that, and it's
right.
Damn painful.
So, so I think you doing.
Why are you willing to make this an issue? Do you think? I mean,
well,
it's sort of like the
happened to one of my.
issue.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This was before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset. No reliable clinician ever believed that. There was never any evidence for that. And also, if there's a higher suicide rate, the reason is because of the underlying depression and anxiety, and not because of the gender dysphoria. And every goddamn clinician knows that too. And they're too cowardly to come out and say it, right? And so and then we end up in exactly, when I saw that lie start to propagate, it just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's like, I see. So you're telling parents that unless they agree to this radical transformation, that their children are going to die, and you think that's moral, and you think that's true. That is so pathological that it's almost incomprehensible. I can't imagine anything worse. I can't imagine a therapist doing anything worse than that, or sitting by idly and remaining silent while his colleagues are doing it. It's pathetic.
It's incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
It won't stop till that happens.
Yeah.
It'll just go underground. Puberty blockers are being accessed online by kids all the time through non-medical channels. So, yeah,
Right.
it's not
Upcoming
gonna
is
stop.
important.
Yeah. Okay, so I see. So that's
So I
personal
was tricked into
connection.
doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good. That's
One
a
more
good
thing.
reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that.
So that is Elon Musk. He's being interviewed by Jordan Peterson for the Daily Wire. And this now has gone viral. I played the whole thing because and obviously it's a conversation, and Jordan Peterson I know is trying to interject and has no idea what Elon is going to say. And if you're with me, I was like, Jordan, just let the moment, just let it go. Elon Musk was fighting back, as you can. I mean, I can't even imagine what he's been through, but he was fighting back tears. I mean, the look on his face. Elon Musk clearly is devastated by this situation, and he sat down. It's a wide-ranging interview, and I haven't heard all of it. I started to listen to it yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so it's being reported that this was his. One of the headlines is Elon Musk complaining about his daughter's gender transition. So that confused me, but then I realized, oh, okay, it's his son who was biologically born, his son Xavier, who then transitioned at some point to be a boy. Now, understand there are 3 baby mamas here. And wife number 3, because he just had a baby within the last year. But this is one of his older children who I think is 20 and goes by Vivian, if I'm not mistaken. So he has about 12 children with 3 different women. He's a man in his 50s. And so this was, I think, during a custody dispute. And we've heard about that too, that dads have less rights. And there were some people saying, well, you should have married your wife and a family. It's all about someone's, geez. This is what's happening to even married, couples who are together, who go to a doctor, they trust, and they don't understand the ramifications of all of this. I just wanted you to hear that, and man, I said a prayer for his kids and him and his family. To me, that's just devastating, and I'm so sad to hear it because, at the very least, this is somebody who. Will never have a chance, right? They're sterilized. They're a young person because they were taking these drugs. They're a different person, but they can never go back. And that's the point I want to make, and I think the point he's making. It is irreversible for children. And so please, God, let people make this decision after age 18 or 21, whatever that looks like, but certainly 18. But for Elon Musk to disclose that now, it makes sense why he went the way he did, why he supported Trump and or Republicans and conservatives because of what happened to his child. Your thoughts, your reactions, 855-839-1210.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
The biggest question, which makes me wonder if in fact it was a coordinated inside job, as Chompy Blobber or whatever his name says.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Sitting in his basement, typing mean tweets. Shut up. As you guys know, I get a lot of emails and tweets, text messages from people saying, are there people controlling your narrative? Nobody controls our narrative here. Let me say that at 7:50 in the morning on Morning Drive when I know tons of people are tuning in. Nobody will ever control the narrative on this radio station except for the people that have talk shows here. Yeah. The end.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Why are prices spiking in Pennsylvania? It's simple. It's inflation. And Senator Bob Casey's reckless spending caused the problem to grow. Casey joined Washington liberals in voting for trillions in reckless spending. All of Senator Casey's spending caused inflation to get out of control until disaster. Everything is too expensive, from gas to groceries. And Senator Casey helped create this mess. Worse, Casey voted to allow COVID relief checks for illegal immigrants and convicted criminals, even murderers. Senator Casey voted to allow more money for illegals, leaving less for us. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act, paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
Explore the power of the 2024 Wrangler 4XE and 2024 Grand Cherokee 4XE at Tri-County Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 84 months. Plus, with Tri-County for Life, your engine, parts, and service are guaranteed for life. Enjoy free PA inspections and much more. We're easy to find off the Limerick exit of 422. Visit TriCountyAuto.net today for more details and experience the Tri-County difference.
Saving for retirement is one thing. Making your money last? For that, you may need some help. Listen to Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Why is it that only new customers always seem to get all the amazing deals? Well, Philly, Verizon is changing that for you. With Verizon, everyone can get their hands on a new iPhone 15. If you've been with Verizon forever and are craving a new iPhone 15, done. Or if you're new to Verizon, it's yours too. That's right. At Verizon, new and current customers get the amazing iPhone 15 on them with any iPhone trade-in, any model, any condition, guaranteed with unlimited ultimate. Sweet, right? With Verizon, you always get the best deals. So there's no need to search, Philly. There's a deal out there for everyone, only at Verizon. Get to your local Verizon store or visit Verizon.com and get your new iPhone 15 today. $829.99 device, payment or full retail purchase with new or upgrade line on unlimited ultimate. Minimum $90 per month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less than $830 trade-in. Promo credit applied. Over 36 months, 0% APR. Trade-in terms apply.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro appearing to be emerging as a top pick to be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate for the 2024 presidential election. ABC News just reporting that while the vetting process is just beginning, an administration official with the Biden administration says Shapiro and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly are the two leading candidates. We know that Harris called Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania on Sunday after she made her launch official for her campaign for the presidency. And Shapiro made his first public appearance in Pittsburgh at an event for the EPA after that phone call confirming that he said, quote, "We spoke only about beating Donald Trump." Also, I'll point out to you Wes Moore of Maryland. He's the first African-American governor in Maryland. He had posted a picture of he and Vice President Kamala Harris and posted that photo yesterday and said something to the effect of, "This, we want to tell Donald J. Trump this is what black jobs look like," or "We want to create more black jobs in Washington, D.C.," or something of that nature. The joke of that is that I actually, you get your LinkedIn, different jobs, and the funny thing about this is that the Biden administration actually has positions available, and I thought it was a spoof for different titles that include so-called black jobs. So I should put that out there. So I just think that's fascinating that the Biden administration has advertised for certain positions to create more quote unquote black jobs, but they're going to make fun of saying, well, Trump has talked about black jobs, which, okay, then let's be honest about it. But we got that going on. 855-839-1210. We have Linda Kearns around the corner. We're going to talk about Pennsylvania elections. We're going to talk about what measures are being taken here locally to get out the vote, what's going on. The breaking news of the moment, of course, is that we are awaiting some kind of statement by President Joe Biden, who perhaps we will see. If he comes out on and we see him on camera, we'll take it because it'll be the first time that we've seen him. And there have been all these reports and rumblings about his health and the plane ride back from Vegas. And I know you've heard all of that, but he supposedly is going to be making a statement about Kim Cheadle, his choice to head and lead the Secret Service. She has resigned. That's the breaking news story right now. And then as well, moving forward, we'll talk about, all the breaking news du jour. There's so much to get to and so much to break through. This is The Dawn Show, 855-839-1210. Got to take a break. Be right back.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering to qualified buyers a maximum discount of $13,176. This offer is good on all 2024 XC90s in stock. $13,176. Plus, the Cherry Hill Volvo 2024 model year sell down. Pricing and attention to detail here is not to be missed. Volvo should be on your shopping list now. This is the time to purchase from Cherry Hill Volvo.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-246-0553. 800-246-0553. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-246-0553.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle. Unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
MIA, missing in action. When will we see the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden? Where's Joe? He is expected to speak soon or release a statement naming a new director of the Secret Service after the fast-breaking developments of Kim Cheadle resigning after yesterday's blistering day of bipartisan criticism by lawmakers on Capitol Hill. But this has, as well, really launched a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of questions, and obviously we have a right to know where all of our elected officials are during a weekday. Joe Biden has been recovering and reportedly, thank goodness, recovering well from what was reported to be a case of COVID. But he has been absent for, more than a minute. And it's been days now. And these are days that are news-filled days with a lot breaking and a lot developing. And it has happened so fast. And even yesterday, we played you a clip of the fact that, Joe Biden phoned into a Delaware rally where he was not so far away. But I guess he wasn't well enough to show up in person, his campaign there, Kamala Harris there, her husband Doug Emhoff there. And so now his continued absence is sparking, of course, memes on social media, but a lot of rumors that he may be in hospice. So the 81-year-old Biden has not been seen, I think it's nearly a week, 6 days, since he dropped out of his bid for re-election. Aides explaining, as I said, he tested positive for COVID and needed treatment. Okay. Now the concerns have also been raised about his health, with a lot of different suggestions that maybe he's seriously ill. Some people saying, maybe he, I'm not even going to say it, but you've seen it all, right? That maybe it's worse than anybody thought. Maybe there's more of a cover-up than anybody thought. And so his health, a matter of national security, clearly, and any illness or death, of course, should be announced to Americans. And it is our business, after all. It's the one case where somebody else's health is our business, right? National security. On top of it, we have Benjamin Netanyahu, who's here. This was a planned visit. We know that Biden put off the visit and meeting with Netanyahu. On the other hand, we know that Netanyahu requested a meeting with Trump. Netanyahu's people have met with Trump's people, and we expect that they will meet. But this current, it's a vacuum. And you know what I'm going to say. Every time there's a vacuum, you know what happens. The conspiracy theories just swirl. Did you hear about this? Now, some people were trying to have fun with it, that they were superimposing Biden's picture on a milk carton. Have you seen your president? Also, the Where's Waldo memes, those have been going around as well. Have you seen me? If so, inform him that our nation needs leadership during this time of crisis. That was one of those milk carton type memes that was going around. Where is the commander of chief? Well, he did make that phone call to campaign staffers, as I say, yesterday afternoon, or really evening, about dinner time, from the COVID isolation booth at his beach house in Rehoboth, and this is Delaware. His voice was scratchy, at times a little slurred. At other times, it was sweet. There were some sweet moments where, with Kamala Harris, can we just air a teeny weeny little snippet of that where she says, "I love you, Joe," and he calls her kid. I think he says, "I'm watching you, kid." Can we just air a little piece of that?
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do. Everybody here does.
It's mutual.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe. Oh.
And so it was a sweet little moment. I know you're going, Dawn, why do you play this? But it plays well in the media, and this is playing over and over. So I'm just giving you. I always want to give you what's going on and what the so-called mainstream media is going to play over and over and over. And so she has all the delegates she need. Wow, nobody thought that she would get it this fast. The fundraising is going swimmingly. There are polls out today that still say that it's not enough, that as of this minute, and polls give us a snapshot. That's all it is. Polls are a old school Polaroid. It's a snapshot for this minute. But the fact that they've come back this fast and this nice, and the media is all behind her, and all the Democrats are lined up behind her, okay? That's what's going on. And so, your take, 855-839-1210. We're expecting to hear from President Joe Biden. He's expected to announce that Cheadle resigned. He accepted her resignation. And here is the new person, fill in the blank. That's what's going on. And these are fast-breaking developments. Okay, I'm just going to say quickly, there are all these reports that his brother spoke out, that they were concerned. I remember hearing a report, I think it was on Fox, and it was over the weekend. They said that, I think it was, he was campaigning in Vegas, that they rushed him back to get treatment, and that Air Force One, they made unprecedented time as they sped him back, that the plane actually shook, that it was just going it was going at a warp record speed. That was the report. And that this was a health crisis or emergency. That's what's being reported. I don't have any official confirmation to that. My fear, because I have a relative, a brother-in-law who I lost to Parkinson's, and I go back to that revelation that a top neurologist was treating him and seeing him every 4 weeks or so. And so my fear is that, I hope I'm wrong, but I just think that maybe this is something, serious like Parkinson's, and I'm so sorry that that's a horrible diagnosis, and treatable. They have great treatments, they do, but it's something that you don't want the added stress of, a job like the President of the United States of America. So how long have they known that? We deserve all of this information, and we'll continue to bring it to you. Moving forward, I do have this interview, obviously a great interview that we've set up with Linda Kearns. You know her as a top attorney, and she's somebody who is really an expert in truth, transparency in elections, and what that means, what that looks like moving forward. So she's going to talk to us with her straight talk, and she's a top person, and I know she's one of the most highly respected voices in this arena, right? And so we'll talk about that. Moving forward, I do want to touch on the sentence that was handed down for a fired Philadelphia cop, by all accounts, a good cop, somebody who never had a run in with the law in his life, and will spend 8 years of his young life behind bars, as he pleaded guilty to third-degree murder in the shooting death, and what was a tragic situation with a kid with an illegal firearm who shot at police and injured police. And it's a tragedy all around, but I want to get your take on that story and other top stories of the day. We'll get to all of them. This is the Dawn Show. I want to get your take. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Be right back.
Hi, it's Nick Kale. The first Wednesday of the month, we shine a spotlight on one outstanding local veteran on our Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. Wednesday, August 7th, we honor Air Force veteran Kathy Christian for her service and contributions to the veteran community. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You know that I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app, dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And during the summer, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com/Dom and make the most out of your summer. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT, FanDuel official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. You have to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
When you look at your kids or grandkids, you can't help but wonder. You wonder what their world will be like in 20 years. Then you think about yourself. What will your life be like when you step away from work and into retirement? There are a lot of things you can't control, but with the right planning, there are some things you can. At Spectrum Wealth Partners, our Portfolio X-Ray is designed to show you how you're doing so far and what your monthly income will look like in the future. In other words, they can take you from wondering to knowing. So take control of your financial future. Call today for a complimentary evaluation. 856-322-8686 or at SpectrumWP.com. And tune into The Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen, Saturdays at 3 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Advisory services offered through Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and Spectrum Wealth Partners are not affiliated companies.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet?
Not yet.
Do it today.
Okay.
At 1210 WPHT.
We've been so serious all morning with all the latest developments. So I want to take you back to somebody who I know that former President Donald J. Trump admires greatly. Somebody who always had a way with words to get his point across, but not in a mean way, a very nice way, and even in a little way that would even make Democrats chuckle a little bit. Listen to this joke as told by Ronald Reagan.
It's a story about a woman who walked into a bridal shop one day and told the sales clerk that she was looking for a wedding gown for her 4th wedding. Well, the saleswoman asked, "Just exactly what type of dress are you looking for?" "A long, flowing white dress with a veil," she responded with assurance. Not totally convinced, but afraid to offend the woman, the sales lady said, "You know, dresses of that nature are usually more appropriate for brides who are being married for the first time, for those a bit more innocent, if you know what I mean." Well, the lady retorted and put her hand on her hip. "I do know what you mean, and I can assure you I'm as innocent as the rest of them. Despite all my marriages, I remain as innocent as any first-time bride. Well, you see, my first husband was a dear, sweet man. It was a terrible tragedy, actually. All the excitement of the wedding was simply too much for him, and he died as we checked into the hotel on our wedding night." "I'm sorry to hear that," said the clerk, "but what about the others?" "Well, my second husband and I got into a terrible fight in the limousine on the way to our wedding reception. We haven't spoken since and got the marriage quickly annulled." "What about your third husband?" asked the store clerk. "Well," the woman replied, "he was a Democrat." And every night for 4 years, he just sat on the edge of the bed and told me how good it was going to be.
And so this is one of those moments where, he tells the joke, he has everybody there, delivers the punchline perfectly. And think about that. It's not mean-spirited. Nobody can say, "Oh, he's mean. Oh, look at him." And so I think that somebody must be showing lately, maybe they're showing former President Trump some of these old videos from the archives to say, look at how he came off as kind and funny and smart. And yet, he's saying, hey, you guys have done nothing and made a lot of promises over the past years, but in a creative, cute, funny, warm way. With that, speaking of warm, funny, intelligent, my friend Linda Kearns, who needs no introduction, an attorney based, obviously Pennsylvania-based attorney who really wants to protect the vote and talk about election integrity, but you need a few good men and women. Hey, Linda, thanks for being here, and thank you for all that you do, certainly in not just to protect the vote and provide and push for transparency, but also what you've done as far as families backing the badge. You've been amazing, and we really appreciate you for all you've done.
Oh, Dawn, of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on to talk about protectthevote.com and lawyers.protectthevote.com. As you know, I represent the RNC, the Republican National Committee here in Pennsylvania, and I need thousands of people to volunteer, especially in Philadelphia and all of the collar counties. But as far as the children behind the badge, I was happy to donate. Remember, Dawn, those people leave families behind, and when I think about the victims from the Butler County rally, now that all that's done, Corey Competer's families, their family is now dealing with the fact that they don't have a father and a husband, and we still have 2 people in the hospital. So that doesn't go away, even if it goes out of the media's mind. And of course, I think I'm really irritating Greg Stalker because I think I get to play Elvis music. So I get that too.
Well, by the way, I'm supposed to pass along the message, if you didn't hear that Greg needs your list, your song list, because you donated so much. So you get to choose the music for Kale and Company, I think for 2 weeks upcoming.
Okay,
I'm not mistaken.
I'll try to find I'll try to pick a lot of songs with your name in it so that we can really honor you.
I love it. Well, listen, how can people get involved? I've been these Trump Force 47 offices that have been opening across the region, Montgomery County, Bucks County, Chester County. I'm attending another one in Delaware County I'll be talking about. But a lot of people, when you go to these events, these various events, or sign up for something like you're talking about, protectthevote.com, and thinking about the RNC, I can testify to this, that when you go to these events, everybody, it's such a fun atmosphere of just fellowship, of people who love our country, and it's positive energy. And so even though we have, we talk about sometimes the bad news of the day or we get serious, these events to me are just such a breath of fresh air to get involved.
Absolutely. And whether you sign up on protectthevote.com or at a Trump Force 47 event, my team and I, we will get all of those names. So you can sign up there, or you can go to protectthevote.com. And we're working on the plan to make sure that we have people in all of the polling places. In Pennsylvania, our election code actually it calls for bipartisan representation in polling places. It's expected that there will be people from both parties in every polling place, but those people don't just appear automatically. We have to find them, we have to recruit them, we have to train them, and we have to place them. Additionally, we also need people to watch the counting of the ballots, which starts at 7 a.m. on Election Day. So I need a lot of people in every county, but especially Philadelphia and the surrounding collar counties.
And so if you go to protectthevote.com and you can sign up for more information, and your line here is making it easier to vote and harder to cheat in elections nationwide. And so what legal action goes on or to either protect the vote or push for transparency? Because I know there's ongoing litigation. It seems like every election, and some of that's par for the course. But as far as our region, can you update me on how Protect the Vote stands for election transparency and election integrity?
Right. Well, you said it, Dawn. It stands for transparency. It stands for integrity. There are multiple lawsuits going on, but the reality is that at this point in time, here we are at the end of July, it's going to be difficult to get any resolution from the courts prior to November. And what happens with a lot of these court rulings is that they interpret the election code, so we have to follow that very, very carefully so we know how to train our workers. And I'm actually really excited because we just brought on board, some of your listeners might know this name, Jody Felice. He's the former chair of the Republican City Committee in Philly, and he's a real veteran at election integrity, and we just brought him on, and he's on my team so that we can find volunteers for all of the polling places in Philadelphia and the surrounding counties.
And so, for this issue, for people who, will volunteer that day, what if you work a night shift? Like, do you have to commit? Can you commit to say, hey, I get off work at 1:00, because the polls are open for many hours? How does that work as far as your shift? And then once you volunteer, what's the process?
Okay, so the polling places in Pennsylvania are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the ideal poll watcher actually gets there at 6:30 a.m. and then doesn't leave till 8:30 p.m., brings their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and is watching all day. And the reason that it's best to have one person in there is that you can see if somebody comes in the morning and then comes in again, maybe to try to vote again. So if you're there all day, you can kind of catch on to all that, and you can watch the opening procedures, you can watch the closing procedures, you can make sure that all of the workers are following the law. And we train you. We have several Zoom trainings each week. As far as people who don't have the full day to contribute, I still want you to go to protectthevote.com because we also need people to watch the opening of the ballots. In Philadelphia, that's done at there's a facility on Roosevelt Boulevard, so you don't need to be there all day. We're going to schedule people in shifts. So if you might, not get off work till the afternoon, but you want to come in the afternoon and evening, that's great. And the counting will actually start at 7 a.m. on Election Day, and it's supposed to continue until finish, which means I'm going to need people overnight. So I can really find a spot for anyone who has time for me.
And as far as litigation, I see that one of the cases that's still going on is the case that has to do with, in Pennsylvania, looking at the mail-in ballots, and it's the Black Political Empowerment Project v. Schmidt. It's on your site; people can look at it. But the issue of the dated ballot requirement. Can you update me on that one?
Sure. Right now, the Secretary of State he issued guidance in the beginning of July, and he recommended to the counties. We have 67 counties in Pennsylvania. He recommended that the ballots that get sent out, the outside envelopes, that it have a spot for people to sign the ballots and date the ballots. But he recommended that they pre-fill the year. So this year, when you get your mail-in ballot, the year will be pre-filled. And they're hoping that that's going to cut down on a lot of people's mistakes, because a lot of people, it's not a lot, it's several thousand people were getting the year wrong. As far as the litigation, they're trying to attack it. That case you're speaking about, that's in the Western District of Pennsylvania, and they're attacking it under constitutional principles like equal protection, to say that it's not fair, basically. I mean, I think that's the simplest way I can say it. It's not fair to ask people to date a ballot. Now, I don't agree with that. If I was the judge, I wouldn't agree with it, but that's what is happening with that litigation. And even though that case went up to the appellate court, the Third Circuit, who basically ruled that it was not a constitutional violation to require that the mail ballots be dated, then now they're trying it a different way under a different section of the Constitution. So it's like the Energizer Bunny sometimes, the left, they just won't give up.
There are sites, and if you do a search on your computer, it comes up. There are sites, there are individuals, there are groups, Linda, who claim that non-citizens are voting already in Pennsylvania, that they've been voting, and that until people have to prove that they are a citizen, that non-citizens are voting, and that one quote is, Pennsylvania is swarming. I'm quoting here. This is a WHYY headline. Pennsylvania swarming with illegal voters. A more recent one last month, non-citizens voting is already illegal in Pennsylvania, but many people believe it is legal and or happening. What do you say to these claims, which, by the way, make people feel like my vote doesn't matter, I'm not even going to go out and vote?
Absolutely. This is really a tough subject for people. Yeah. First of all, nothing should discourage you from voting, because the one way I can guarantee your vote's not going to count is if you don't vote. So I would not let anything discourage you from voting. I actually have a case that's in the Third Circuit. That's the appellate court for the federal courts, where my clients, the Public Interest Legal Foundation, we challenged Pennsylvania on the non-citizen voting issue. And that case, believe it or not, started back in 2019. We won, and now it's in the appellate court. For the most part, when you sign up to register to vote, you're asked for either your driver's license number or your Social Security number, and those numbers help tell the officials, the election officials, whether or not you're a citizen. Very few people actually sign up without one of those numbers. So I don't think that the sentence that we're swarming with non-citizens is accurate. That's just not true. Are there potentially non-citizens on the voter rolls? Yes. In Pennsylvania, unfortunately, years ago, they used to get on when they were signing up for their driver's license, because they would ask them if they wanted to vote prior to asking them whether or not they were citizens. And I think a lot of the people were getting confused and signing up to vote. The Pennsylvania DMV did correct that, so that particular problem isn't happening anymore. So I certainly cannot say that there are no non-citizens on the voter rolls, and there probably are. And would it be enough to swing a presidential election? I doubt it. But that comes more into play in some of these close elections, like the state house elections and the local elections. But I don't think any of that litigation or any of those controversies should sway someone not to vote. There's some legislation that's being proposed. I'm sure you've talked about on your show, the SAVE Act.
Yes.
And that should help that issue in the future. But for November's election, the best that I can tell people is please make sure that you go out to vote, because that's the only way that I can say your vote's going to count.
And where are we with, Linda, with the mail-in ballots as far as getting, instructing Republicans, conservatives who traditionally, I think, like the tradition of voting on Election Day, and making that kind of a tradition. But there has been a push to make sure that we're too big to fail, so to speak, that if people think there's any shot that they might not be able to get there, go ahead and get your mail-in ballot, fill it out properly, and get it in there early. Where do you think Republicans are with that happening?
Right. So, on a personal level, as someone who's practiced this type of law, do I wish that we all voted as a country on the same day?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I wish. But I'm also a realist, and President Trump has been clear that you need to make sure that you get your vote in. And we understand the realities of life, of childcare, work, getting sick. And in the states that do have these mail ballot procedures, and Pennsylvania is one of them, because it is available to us, take advantage of it if you are concerned that maybe you won't be able to get to the polls. And the more votes we bank ahead of time, then the sooner that this election will be finished. Hopefully it will be finished the night of November 5th when we learn that Donald Trump is the next president of the United States. So there are ways to make sure your mail ballot counts. First, follow the directions very, very carefully. It does tell you to sign and date the ballot. You date it on the date that you're filling it out. Don't put your birth date or anything else in there. Actually fill it out correctly. And then you can return it to your county election office. Philadelphia is also going to be opening 10 satellite election offices. You can return it there, and you can put it through the mail or you can put it in the drop box. I know people have a lot of concerns about the mail or the drop box, and if that's your concern, then return it right to the election office. And if you provide them your email address, you can actually track it and make sure that it was actually received. And the other thing that sometimes people make a mistake on is there's a secrecy ballot inside. So when you fill out your ballot, you put your ballot inside a secrecy ballot envelope. Then you put that secrecy envelope inside the mail ballot envelope. And so make sure to follow those procedures.
Linda Kearns, I was trying to quickly text Jimmy Kelly, but there's so much going on here to play a little Elvis, Return to Sender, because I know you love Elvis, and we always want to, bust on Greg Stocker, who says he doesn't like Elvis, but I was trying to do the mail-in thing, do a little Elvis. So we appreciate you from the standpoint that you like Elvis, that you've been so generous to families backing the badge, and as well, keeping our brand manager in line with some of your great musical choices. So we really appreciate you.
Dawn, thank you so much for having me on. I just encourage your listeners to go to protectthevote.com and tell their family, their friends. You don't think I've told my entire family and every friend I know that they better sign up and they're going to be out there on Election Day? And even, how about Henry? Maybe before he has to go to work for you, and then after he can come volunteer for me. I mean, I'm not leaving any stone unturned.
That's right. I'm getting my kids too, because they're teenagers, but they're getting of age. So that's just it. Do you have to be 18 to volunteer?
There is a way that if you're not registered to vote, there's a student exception that you can that you can volunteer. And then there's always political things that you can do, like standing outside of polling places, giving out flyers and so forth. So believe me, we can find something for everybody if you're available. I don't know if your kids are going to have school that day, but
that's true. A lot of schools get out. That's another issue. Linda Kearns, right. Thank you so much. Many call you a hero attorney. I mean, you're just fighting for election integrity, transparency, and protectthevote.com. Until next time, Linda, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dawn.
So we'll continue the conversation. 855-839-1210, the number to call. I'm going to be right back.
I don't work on January the 8th because that's Elvis's birthday.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A humid air mass remains in place across the Delaware Valley. It'll be partly sunny and very warm with a high of around 89. Tonight, warm and muggy with a shower possible, low 74. And for Wednesday, mostly cloudy, some showers and a possible thunderstorm with a high 85.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Bring on the summer heat with huge savings when you replace your old, inefficient windows and doors with the great people at Guida Door and Window. Right now, Guida is offering their best discounts of the year with their big 40% off summer sales event on all expertly installed windows and doors. Have drafty windows you've been meaning to replace? Well, you receive 40% off each window you buy. That's right, 40% off all high-performance, energy-efficient triple-pane windows. In need of new doors? Well, Guida's got you covered there as well, with 40% off all high-quality entry doors, patio doors, garage doors, and storm doors. Plus, you can start your project with no money out of pocket and pay it off interest-free for up to 18 full months. Don't let these incredible savings pass you by. Go Guida right now so you can take advantage of these limited time savings. All prior sales excluded. Offer expires July 31st, so call Guida today. Schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Crash Proof Retirement records all financial meetings. All promises made in recorded financial meetings become legally binding between Crash Proof Retirement and the investing client. Crash Proof Retirement provides all of their clients with a certificate of authenticity, further documenting that recording financial meetings brings fiduciary responsibility to the highest level.
I'm Jack Gunning from Bluebell, Pennsylvania. I don't know whether anybody can offer you the security that Crash Proof Retirement does. I have this certificate that tells me they're a fiduciary. Everything is recorded and they have your best interest at heart. That certificate is 100% documentation that you know what they're saying is 100% correct. Other companies don't have this guarantee. This certificate means an awful lot for me, and it should mean an awful lot for you.
Certify your retirement future. Schedule an appointment by calling 1-800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
Yo, Roy is Ford. What? We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
So just letting you know that Thursday evening, I think the doors open about 5:30-ish in, this is Delco, okay? I will be there. We will have some surprise guests, but this is the Trump Force 47 office in Delaware County. So just want to give you a heads up on this event. I'm just trying to pull up my little address because they're sending me the latest on it. But I wanted to give you this news. And do we have somebody on the line maybe from, well, we'll get this screened. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. I'm just trying to find this. Where's Val? Where are you? Here we go. So this is where I'll be on Thursday, July 25th. Doors open. Actually, the doors open 4:30, and the actual event starts 5:30. And this is Media, Pennsylvania. And so it's 323 West Front Street, okay? 323 West Front Street. So today's Tuesday. I want to see you Thursday. Doors open 4:30 in the afternoon, and the event will begin 5:30, Trump Force 47. A lot of times, depending on the event, because I was at the Monco one with Kathy Barnett, then Chesco, and I know Scott Pressler was at, I think, the Bucks County one, I believe. And by the way, did you see all of Scott's? I love all of his positive, high energy when he's saying, we have more registered voters as Republicans in Bucks County. He's out there working hard. And I love his energy and his spirit. He's involved and going door to door and doing things right. And that's really what we need for sure. Jimmy, do you want to tell me what that certain caller had to say? Is there a message, or can you say on the air?
Not
Jimmy?
really, no.
No? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
He wanted to pass along a few facts right now. I think what he was trying to say was that, he's seen, and again,
Can we say who it is?
I wouldn't, but he was just passing along facts that
somebody who used to be in public office in this region.
And was saying that most kids on college campuses are voting twice, is what he was trying to pass along.
The allegation.
The allegation, yeah.
All
And
right.
I apologize. If he's listening, I apologize if I seem to blow him off, but there's like 10 things going on at once, so...
Yeah, call back in.
Yeah, if he wants to call back in. I don't think he really wanted to go on there, and I totally understand that, but...
Here's a thing that I will say for all of this is that's why if you volunteer, the more volunteers that we have on both sides, by the way, and if you've worked in a polling place, everybody, gets to know each other. You're from the same community and you're working toward this. We all want the same result. We want a result that everybody can say, hey, no matter what it is, even if I'm not happy about it, I can say to myself at the end of an election day or week, as it were, that this was fair, that it was full of integrity as far as the election and transparency. And I just, at the end of this November 5th election, I hope to God that we're not doing that again, where people are saying, oh, there was something at play and something nefarious. It's the worst. And we feel bad about it. And so... I don't have evidence of college kids voting twice. Okay. I don't have the evidence of that, but I will say this, that I have been at polling places where I've seen people say, hey, my 19-year-old is off at college and they shouldn't be on here. Can you take them off? And they don't get taken off. Have I witnessed all of that? Yes. But that's why we need the poll watchers. That's why we need all these volunteers, like I say, on both sides of the aisle, so that the more eyes and ears you have, the more integrity and transparency you have, in my humble opinion. So 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Okay, let's get back to this audio really quick because this is going viral. And I don't know if you heard this, but this is where in person, it's technically a local story, you have Kamala Harris at that event in Delaware. Now, at the campaign headquarters, Dougie comes out and they're all lovey-lovey and they're all speaking and clapping and this is historic. And then Joe Biden calls in. And then there's a comment, a back and forth. And many are saying that Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, who's running for president, made a slip up. And I want to know if you heard this. Here's Henry Mesh.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
Did you hear it? Play it one more time.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call.
Did you get it? Did you hear that?
I heard it.
Henry, I have to admit, on the first, because I watched it live, and then I had to listen to it a couple times, to be honest. And then I was like, oh, she does.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what do you hear, Henry?
I mean, it sounds like she's saying "reh," and then stops, and then says "call," and a lot of people are saying she meant to say "recording."
What else could it be? What else could
I don't know. Are there any other synonyms starting with "re" for a call?
So, there are people saying that, was it an AI voice? Was it really Joe? Did he do a recording and they're pretending it's live? What's going on here? Conspiracy theorists.
I mean, there's a lot floating around right now about him. I mean, they've been, kind of secretive and slimy this whole administration. What's one more thing on the way out?
Well, hopefully they just dissolve and resolve that by a live news conference. It probably won't help our hardcore conspiracy theorists, for sure. But apparently he's to address the nation tomorrow. That's what I'm seeing. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., the President Joe Biden will address the nation 8 p.m. tomorrow about his decision to abandon his campaign for a second term amid these mounting questions about his mental acuity, about his health. And this, as Kamala Harris, I saw her somewhere on a feed, one of our many feeds, and I think she's on a plane. I believe she's headed to Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, because obviously if you look at the race to 270, at this point in the polls, Republicans are ahead. And so Republicans, according to, if you believe these different maps, the electoral map, looks like Republicans only need, well, Pennsylvania. Right? It's just about that size. Pennsylvania would be perfect. So that's the word, though, that tomorrow, 8 p.m. And then when is he supposed to? So he's going to head. He hasn't been seen in public since last Wednesday when he traveled. Remember, we saw him. He was looked very weak and was heading down the stairs. And this was at his Delaware vacation home, Rehoboth. And so we saw him then. Then we really have not physically had eyeballs on the President of the United States since last Wednesday. So tomorrow then he's expected that we'll see him. And they say that he is officially dropping out, that Kamala now has officially secured all the delegates that she needs. Do I have to take a quick break? I guess I do. I can't take any calls. I'm sorry. I can't take them. I'll take them on the other side. I promise. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
The biggest question, which makes me wonder if in fact it was a coordinated inside job, as Chompy Blobber or whatever his name says.
Sloppy Chris Christie.
Sitting in his basement, typing mean tweets. Shut up. As you guys know, I get a lot of emails and tweets, text messages from people saying, are there people controlling your narrative? Nobody controls our narrative here. Let me say that at 7:50 in the morning on Morning Drive when I know tons of people are tuning in. Nobody will ever control the narrative on this radio station except for the people that have talk shows here. Yeah. The end.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Philadelphia? We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Philadelphia for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. Philadelphia is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Discover the simple steps developed by Joe Arias, one of real estate's greatest rags to riches stories. You'll learn to flip properties and secure rental properties without using your own money and in your spare time. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Philadelphia and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
And so many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Don't miss the Labor and Energy Show with J-Doc and Krause, brought to you by Advocacy United, this Saturday night at 6. Find out about the important issues that'll affect you. The Labor and Energy Show, Saturday night at 6 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Are you dealing with tax debt or unfiled tax returns and don't know how to make the problem go away? Is just the thought of dealing with the IRS giving you a panic attack? Let Legal Tax Defense take the pressure off of you. All tax relief companies are not the same, and all tax problems are complex indifferent. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, the experienced tax attorneys and licensed enrolled agents can resolve the toughest cases. For over 15 years, Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating settlements for individuals and businesses just like you. All of their online ratings are A+. Even if you've received a threatening notice from the IRS, facing a wage garnishment, or have had your bank account levied, it's not too late to call Legal Tax Defense for a free, no-risk consultation. Get peace of mind and security knowing you hired the best. Call Legal Tax Defense at 800-962-2403. 800-962-2403. That's 800-962-2403.
Cozy Jewelers is the place to go to for exquisite engagement rings. Thinking about popping the question this summer? Whether you buy something off the shelf or go for a custom engagement ring, Cozy is there for you and will make sure you get the perfect ring thanks to Cozy's 5 C's. Color, cut, clarity, carat, and the Cozy touch. This summer, begin a lifetime of happiness with a ring from Cozy. Go to Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square or shop online at CozyJewelers.com. That's CozyJewelers.com. And step up to the 5th C, COZZI.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli, afternoons 3 till 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Headlines today as we learn more about Joe Biden, when he'll speak. Netanyahu here, planning to speak with former President Donald J. Trump, reportedly. We have the Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, resigning, and we are awaiting word of exactly who replaces her. Joe Biden putting out his intention to speak to the nation, addressing the nation tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening, so technically day 8. As far as Philadelphia, looking at the former law enforcement officer, former policeman, who was fired and then convicted and then cut a plea deal, sentenced yesterday to 8 years behind bars. And it was a tearful moment in the court as he was pleading guilty to third-degree murder. This is the first time in our history, that we've seen a police officer charged with murder, albeit third-degree murder. This involved the shooting of a 12-year-old who, by all accounts, according to the records, had an illegal firearm, was being raised by the grandparents. Just a tragic situation all the way around. And I don't really know how society benefits from a police officer who maybe overreacted out of fear. I know we've had a lot of emotion surrounding this, but I don't know that 8 years behind bars does any sort of justice. It made me sad when I saw the whole thing. But this 12, even though he's only 12, what if he were 37? He fired on law enforcement. To me, it's just such a sad case, but it's something that is making national headlines, a landmark case, as they say. I'm also seeing a headline from the New York Post that's saying the wannabe assassin from Pennsylvania, that his father is speaking out for the first time after his son tried to assassinate former President Donald J. Trump. And this is the New York Post putting out this headline saying the wannabe assassin, the father of the wannabe, revealing the family is just trying to, quote, take care of ourselves, stepping out in public for the first time since the shooting. He's a 53-year-old father making these remarks, spotted leaving a grocery store, and they're quoting Fox News. So I don't know who the reporter was, but saying that they just want to try to take care of themselves. Please just give us our space, says the father. He had loaded bags of groceries, and he said that they're going to release a statement when their legal counsel advises them to do so. Otherwise, they have no comment. So these parents, registered, licensed social workers. This is their son, their only son, who they lost in that attempt. How did they not know? So many questions for this family. We know that his older sister, who was away at school, very popular by all accounts, had a part-time job. I think it's unfair, quite frankly, that the media was showing the sister just a couple years older than the wannabe, who's now dead, shot by, obviously, Secret Service security snipers. But, I feel for the sister. She wasn't home, had nothing to do with it. But what did these parents know? What can we learn from them? And there's still so many questions that we have as far as this 20-year-old and that he could get up on this roof, that he hid a ladder, allegedly, hid a firearm, allegedly, flew a drone over this area that's usually where the farm show happens, and had encrypted accounts and bank accounts overseas. And then after Cheadle's hellacious day yesterday, getting hammered by bipartisan lawmakers, right? We've talked about that. But Cheadle opening the door, really, for many, in which she did not answer the question, was this a lone wolf? So even though she's saying that's for the FBI and she's following protocol, still many took that as, uh-oh, what's going on here? So there are still so many questions today as we pass the baton here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Hopefully we answered a lot of your questions. If you still have questions about how to sign up for protectthevote.com, go to the site. I believe you have to be a registered voter if you're going to work at the polls, unless you're a student. That's what I believe. But Dom Giordano, I know you have an incredible lineup ahead.
Well, thanks, Dawn. Sean Parnell, who was right there near the president with the shooting, monitoring yesterday. I guess she's resigned now, head of Secret Service. What does he think needs to be done next? What did he hear? And we have a big added announcement to the Don Trump Jr. event.
Ooh, nice. The Dom Giordano Show.